Amy Homan McGee was a mother, a daughter, and a friend. She was a vibrant young woman with a future full of promise, a life that was tragically cut short by the very person who had vowed to love her. Her story is a heartbreaking but essential lesson on the insidious nature of domestic violence. It serves as a powerful reminder that this form of abuse can happen to anyone in any community, often beginning subtly before escalating into a life-threatening crisis. We tell Amy's story not to sensationalize her death, but to honor her life by educating others, illuminating the warning signs, and empowering communities to intervene before it is too late. Understanding the journey she endured is the first step toward preventing similar tragedies from devastating other families. The story begins, as many do, with a seemingly romantic start. Amy met Vincent McGee while she was working at a home improvement store. He worked for an armored car service and made frequent stops at her workplace. To Amy, his constant attention and presence likely felt flattering and exciting at first. He appeared devoted and intensely interested in her life, a characteristic that can easily be mistaken for deep affection in the early stages of a relationship. This initial phase, however, masked a more sinister dynamic that would soon emerge, turning what seemed like a fairy tale romance into a terrifying reality for Amy and everyone who cared about her. The first clear warning signs were not explosive acts of violence, but subtle acts of control. These red flags began to appear at her job. Amy's co-workers noticed a significant change in her demeanor whenever Vincent arrived to make a delivery. She would become visibly distressed and anxious. It soon became clear that he was not just visiting, he was monitoring her. He watched her interactions with male customers and colleagues, his presence a constant and intimidating weight on her shoulders. This possessiveness eventually became so disruptive that Amy's employer had to formally request that Vincent's company no longer assign him to that route, citing a conflict of interest that was impacting Amy's well-being at work. This controlling behavior soon escalated beyond her workplace and into their home life, marking a dangerous turning point in the relationship. By December of 1998, the situation had grown far more volatile. During one incident, an intoxicated Vincent broke a window when Amy attempted to leave their shared space. It was then that she confessed a chilling threat to her parents. Vincent had warned her, "If you take my kid away from me, I'll kill you." This was not just a conflict, it was a direct threat to her life, a clear indicator of the lethal potential lurking beneath the surface of his controlling actions, and a stark preview of the tragedy to come. The pattern of abuse continued to intensify, with moments of extreme danger followed by periods of reconciliation that made it incredibly difficult for Amy to leave permanently. In October 1999, the violence reached a terrifying new level. While Amy was driving with their baby in the back seat, Vincent fired a handgun into the passenger side window of the car. This shocking act of aggression, occurring on what was supposed to be her first day at a new job, led to his arrest. However, the legal system's response highlighted a critical challenge faced by many victims. By March 2000, Vincent was granted a special probationary program because Amy, likely under immense pressure and fear, was unable to testify against him, a common hurdle in domestic violence cases. Vincent's control extended into every facet of Amy's life, particularly her employment, which represented a small piece of independence. At her new job at a phone store, his behavior was relentless. An employee meticulously documented Vincent's incessant and disruptive calls, which interfered with business operations and created a hostile environment for everyone. His jealousy and paranoia were on full display when he threatened one of Amy's male co-workers over the phone. This behavior is a classic tactic of abusers, isolating their partner from any support system, including friends and colleagues, thereby tightening their grip and making it even harder for the victim to seek help or plan an escape. The cycle of violence is often marked by a dangerous escalation over time, and Amy's experience was no exception. In August 2001, the abuse became physically brutal when Vincent punched her in the face, breaking her nose. Police were called to the hospital where she was being treated, but no arrest was made. Amy was given information on how to obtain a protective order, a piece of paper that offers little protection against an abuser who is determined to inflict harm. A few days later, when questioned by a doctor, Amy attributed her injury to being hit by a softball, a common tactic victims use to cover for their abusers out of fear, shame, or a misplaced sense of loyalty. Even Amy's attempts to create physical distance were thwarted by Vincent's refusal to let her go. She managed to secure an emergency transfer to a different store in State College, hoping to escape his constant surveillance and abuse. However, her hope for a fresh start was shattered when Vincent simply moved with her, demonstrating his absolute determination to maintain control over her life. Her new co-workers immediately noticed her black eye, and recognizing the danger she was in, they began creating fake work schedules to try and protect her from Vincent, especially when she was scheduled to work with male colleagues. This small act of solidarity shows the critical role a supportive community can play. As the abuse worsened, Amy and her family made repeated, desperate attempts to seek help and find a path to safety. Each attempt, however, was met with systemic barriers and Vincent's unyielding control, illustrating the immense difficulty victims face when trying to leave an abusive relationship. In December 1998, after Vincent threatened to kill her, Amy's parents helped her go to the police. An officer assisted her in obtaining an emergency protection from abuse order, which legally required Vincent to leave their home and surrender his weapons. When police served the order, they discovered a loaded handgun hidden in the very chair Vincent was sitting in, a chilling testament to his lethal intent. Despite this clear evidence of danger, the system's ability to protect Amy was tragically short-lived. While the officers were still on site, Vincent immediately violated the protective order by repeatedly calling her, which led to his arrest for contempt of court. He was held accountable only for the time he had already served. Then, in a devastating turn of events that highlights the psychological grip of an abuser, Amy appeared in court just 1 week later. With Vincent sitting right beside her, she told the judge that she was not afraid of him and asked for the PFA to be dropped and for his guns to be returned. The judge complied, and a critical opportunity to intervene was lost. The family's efforts continued as the situation grew more dire. On September 1, 2001, after Amy and the children had moved in with her parents in State College, her father called the police to have an intoxicated Vincent removed from the house. Because the couple was living there, it was legally considered Vincent's residence, and the police could not force him to leave. They could only assist Amy and her 2 young children in leaving the home for their own safety. Vincent voluntarily relinquished a handgun for safekeeping, but because he had just completed his probation for the 1999 shooting incident, the police were legally obligated to return the weapon to him. Trapped and feeling her options dwindling, Amy made a final, heartbreaking plea. She sent a desperate email to her employer on October 16, 2001, begging to be transferred back to their previous town of Uniontown. She believed that this move might calm Vincent down and de-escalate his anger, a common but dangerous bargaining tactic used by victims trying to survive an impossible situation. Her request was denied. Amy was caught in a terrifying paradox. Staying was dangerous, leaving was dangerous, and every official channel she pursued seemed to lead back to the same terrifying reality, leaving her feeling isolated and with nowhere left to turn. On November 8, 2001, the day Amy lost her life, the events unfolded with a chilling sense of premonition. Vincent did something highly unusual. He allowed Amy to take their only vehicle to work, a gesture that immediately worried her. Her intuition proved correct. By mid-morning, she called her mother to check on the children, and her mother discovered them in soiled clothes while Vincent was asleep. Vincent then began calling Amy's store incessantly, an estimated 20 to 25 times, before showing up in person to confront her. After being told to leave by a co-worker, he took the truck and later appeared at the restaurant where Amy was having dinner with her parents and children. It was there she finally told him it was over. That final brave declaration set the tragic conclusion in motion. Amy told Vincent the relationship was finished and that he had until the next day to move out of her parents' house. After dinner, she stopped by the house to pick up some supplies for the children, leaving them safely in the car with her parents. She went inside alone. Vincent, who had hidden the truck in the garage, was waiting for her. Just 5 minutes later, he walked out of the house and calmly stated, "Someone call 911. I just shot Amy." He had shot her in the head at point-blank range, ending her life and devastating all who knew and loved her. Amy's story is a singular tragedy, yet it reflects a nationwide epidemic. In the United States, it is estimated that 1 in 4 women will experience severe intimate partner violence in their lifetime. The impact on children is equally devastating, with millions exposed to domestic violence in their homes each year, creating a cycle of trauma that can last a lifetime. Domestic violence is not just a private family matter, it is a public health crisis. It is defined by a pattern of coercive behavior, physical, emotional, sexual, and financial, used by one partner to maintain power and control over the other. Her story underscores the vital importance of community intervention. Friends, family, co-workers, and law enforcement all saw signs of Amy's struggle. While many tried to help, her story shows that a more coordinated and educated community response is essential. We must learn to recognize the signs of coercive control, to offer non-judgmental support, and to connect victims with professional resources. Silence can be misinterpreted as acceptance by an abuser. Speaking up, offering a safe space, and believing a victim can make all the difference. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please do not wait. Help is available 24/7. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE.